I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Gary Sanitary District on Monday, November 20th, 2023. If everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Daniel Vicari,
Present.
Commissioner Maurice Mabon,
Present.
Commissioner Ola Morris, Commissioner Charles Jackson, Commissioner Darnell Lyles, Attorney Nick Snow,
Present.
Executive Director Rhonda Anderson, Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
With 5 commissioners present and 0 absent, we can conduct business. Next on the agenda is minutes. Madam Secretary, do you have a recommendation for minutes? Been moved and seconded. Any conversation, any discussion on it? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Lyles.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Mabon. Commissioner Vicari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
5 ayes and 0 noes. The minutes have been approved. Next up is new business.
Thank you. I recommend a motion to approve and ratify GSD payroll earnings for period ending October 9th, 2023 through October 22nd, 2023 in the amount of $246,410.03.
For the overview of 2.1, is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve payroll. And I have a second. The moved and second. Any discussion on payroll? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Lyles.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Mabon. Commissioner Vicari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 2.1 has been approved. There's a recommendation for deferral of item 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Just had a question. Why are we deferring 2.2 and 2.3?
Because it includes, well, we could do 2.2 and 2.3. You're right. 2.4 is separated.
Well, I would actually prefer that those budgets have already been in effect. As a matter of fact, one of them expires, and the salary resolution would complete the budget year for 2022 and 2023, and I would make a motion that we approved and hold off on 2.4. Since we don't have a budget, we can't do a salary resolution on 2.4.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for approval of item 2.2 and 2.3, but a deferral of 2.4. Is that clear?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Lyles.
Sure.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Vicari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, items 2.2 and 2.3 have been approved, and item 2.4 has been deferred. Next up is claims.
Recommend approval of GSD claim numbers 3235 through 3288 in the amount of $79,826.46.
Mr. Foster, you sure about that?
Second.
I'm sorry, is there a question about item 3.1?
Yes. I mean, the claims are $79,000. Is there a reason? Are there things that you're withholding because of the letter from the incoming administration? Because if there's some essential things then they probably should be on the claims.
I wouldn't necessarily say that we're withholding because of the letter that you're referring to. What I will say is the timing of the approval versus the timing when we create the claim list is we would not have those into RDS, our accounting system, thus would not allow us to put that information on the claims list. So you're going to have an fairly larger one. Next claims list. It's all about timing. It's not necessarily about the letter itself.
Okay, is there a motion to approve claims?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing,
Not in claims, but is it, what is the proper procedure to go back and revisit payroll?
today's payroll?
No, the payroll that's on, yeah, it's today's payroll.
We can come back to it. Let's go through this 3.1 first, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Call for the vote for 3.1, please.
Commissioner Lyles?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Vakari?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 3.1 has been approved. Commissioner Maybon, you had a question about 2.1?
Yes. I know there's been sort of a moratorium, but included in 2.1 we are going to pay our employees their merit pay, correct?
I believe that is a process that happens at the end of the year.
Yes, that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not tied into the cease and desist letter, so to speak. That's a payroll.
There's nothing in the Indiana code left. If you read Title 36, there's nothing in there mayor-elect has any power to do anything until he becomes mayor. That's when the statute says these are your powers. Until then, I think it's improper to do anything with that. In fact, it could amount to malfeasance on the part of the board.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we don't withhold paying our employees merit pay. That's why I brought that up. And if I had a relationship with the incoming administration, I would reach out to them personally. Employees have already earned this merit pay. This merit pay the earning period started in January.
Issue. We're going to operate. We operate today in January, in February, March. We have to operate normal. That's what we have to do. There is no moratorium.
That's my question. I want to make sure that we're not withholding merit pay. Okay. That's all I had on that.
All right. Rhonda, if you don't mind, the matter of formality, if the board doesn't mind, you can provide the superintendent update from your seat. You don't need to stand up. So please go ahead.
Pass that out. No, let's touch that. So, give me a second. So at the last board meeting, there was some discussion about all of the thousands of aeration diffuser head membranes that were replaced by our maintenance staff. And so that picture is one of the passes in one of the aerators. So you can see how the magnitude of that task. And in fact, the maintenance staff was standing in about a foot of sludge while they were replacing these membranes. And so I brought along, this is how the old membranes look. You could pass that down. They get clogged up, and that causes the blowers to have to work harder to provide the air to each of the aerators. And this is a new membrane, so they removed thousands of the old membranes and replaced them with thousands of the new membranes, and it's quite a task. And they did that for 2 aerators.
Should I take it out of the bag?
No, no, no.
I'm fine. I mean, we had all our workers doing this, why can't I take it?
They had gloves on. So it's quite an endeavor. It takes some weeks to do an aerator at a time, and it improves the efficiency of the oxygen exchange in each of the aerators. So, and that's my show and tell. So IWEA has what they started in 2021. It was supposed to start in 2020, but because of COVID, it was delayed a year. The Leadership Development Institute, and it's an ongoing course where the participants in the course over a 12-month period participate in 10 different classes, and they cover a variety of topics related to management and leadership. So last week, I was asked to be part of the leadership panel for one of the classes. I participated in this in 2021, 2022, and so I was asked to come back and talk to the class that I once sat in to talk about leadership, different leadership topics. On the HMI project, all of the hardware has been delivered, and next week, Wonderlic Malik will be on site to start the installation. And once that's done, the new system and the old system will run in parallel to ensure that everything is operating as designed. After that, all that's left is hundreds of hours of training on the new software and how to maintain it. And we have 3 seats for that class, which will include our instrumentation and controls team and Matt Henkel, our IT manager. We seem to have resolved the issues that we had in the plant for a while with excess activated sludge inventory. And I want to thank the board for approving the funding for the belt filter press rebuilds, because now we can waste as much as we need to waste for the RAS valve replacements, the gravity pump operation, let me see what else. There was lots of clarifier cleaning and maintenance and RAS pump check valve replacement, all which have occurred within the past 3 years. And so now we have better control over our activated sludge inventory. And what this means is that we will be better able to tolerate intense rain events. On the maintenance side, intermediate tank number 6 has been cleaned and repaired and is back in service. The control panel was installed on auto sampler 38.0 and it is back in service. And 38.0 is the sample of the filter effluent. And programming changes were made to filter influent valves to prevent faulting when in backwash mode. And lastly, the instrumentation and controls team repaired problems with the digester feed valves. And that's all I have, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Anderson? Rhonda, when will you be able to do a demonstration of the new HMI for SCADA?
As soon as Let me see. As soon as this new system is up and running, which should be sometime in December.
Will you be able to do that with the firewalls? Will you be able to do it from this boardroom on the admin side of?
I don't know. I have to look into that.
Yeah. Okay.
We might have to go where there's a SCADA, wherever there's a SCADA computer. There's one in my office and one in the operator's control room, and there's one in the maintenance room.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, but I'll have to look into that. Matt, you might know. Okay.
Or if we can do that here in a public meeting, or would we be restricted to someone's office to see it? It'd be nice to show it in here so the public can see the investment we've made. Okay. Any other board member have a question for Ms. Anderson? Thanks, Rhonda. Next up is Eric Tonk with construction activities, and you're going to have to stand.
I can stand, not a problem. Good morning, board. I'm going to provide a quick update of the ongoing construction projects. One of them is the aeration system improvements. This project is basically closed out. I'm just trying to find a way to do the proper paperwork, the certificate of final completion, just to get this project off our books. The grid improvements project meeting, the project, everything has been delivered, it's installed. They're running. They're still working out some minor bugs. The punch list item is down to 9 items, all of which are all paperwork. Just some of the close-up documents, the spare parts list. So hopefully that'll be getting completed in the next couple of weeks with the Army Corps. Looking forward to closing out that project. The next project is the 27th Chase Street Force Main Replacement Project. It's phase 2. This is from 25th Avenue to 23rd. Currently, they're just buttoning up the site for the winter time. It's going to be shut down for a while. They are going to keep all roads open now. They're going to pave 25th Avenue and Chase Street. So during the winter time, the roads won't be any detours. It'll be paved and plowable. For the 27th Chase Street bar screen, the project is moving along. All the dimensions are finalized with the engineer. The bar screen is being manufactured. I believe the delivery date is probably end of December or early January. And they're doing electrical work as we speak, and hopefully we can keep this project moving and on schedule. The Lake Street pump station enforcement replacement, all the punch list items are completed. Just need to get with American Construction Point for the paperwork, certificate of final completion, release retainage. We get that off the books. And the last project is the Lake Street drainage improvements, complete streets. Again, this project is also being shut down for the winter time. They did some paving last week. I'm not too sure how far they got. I'm sure John will give a more detailed update on that, but this project will also be, the roadways will be ready for winter time for all the plows and traffic. And that's all I have.
Questions for Eric?
Yeah, I have one. Eric, these contractors, first of all, who is First Street Contractors?
Well, I believe it's more of a joint venture. Who they kind of bunch of companies got together to bid on the GRIT project, and with that Army Corps project, they were the low bidder. And
Commissioner, it's not our project. That's the Army Corps project.
Okay.
He's reporting out on because it is at our plant.
Okay. One other thing, are you there? And I really don't like to bring this one up, but the GLIM contract, I think I've had some discussions with Attorney Lyles on this, and we requested the minority for who the subcontractor would be. And the subcontractor is going to be, was awarded 62% of the contract.
the contract value, yes.
Okay. Was it because of the way we submitted a request for bids that we only had, that GLIM as a minority bidded on an HVAC job?
Well, they're the prime contractor,
Yeah.
so they found the HVAC.
Is it traditional that
Company?
we give 62% of the value of the contract to a subcontractor.
I won't say it's traditional, but I'm sure there's instances in the past where projects have been completed this way, but I wouldn't say it's traditional.
Okay.
Do you have a question about that?
Yeah, because it looks like a pass-through to me. You know, I mean, I'm looking at the electrical part of the work, and I noticed that the second responsible bidder, which was Primastar, their electrical part of their bid was $18,000, and we're going to be rewarding Glim. His electrical part of the contract is going to be $32,000. And you don't see anything wrong with that?
I don't have the folder in front of me, but I think it was just the overall value of the project. They were the lowest bidder. This is how they were recommended for the job.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson, the last time we were here, I think we were told that there was no HVAC company in the city here, whether it was minority owned or otherwise, but it seems like there is. There's Mechanical Concepts. You guys ever shoot the bid to them? Or why aren't they bidding? They're on County Line Road here.
Yeah.
Ralph Neff is the owner there. We've tried to get them engaged. They've done one project. In fact, from what I can remember, and Cole or anyone else, let me know if I'm wrong, probably in the last 15 years, they've bid on one project, and it was a boiler replacement project over here. So I'm not sure why.
I just wanted to clear up the belief I had that there was no HVAC company in the city here. That isn't true.
They don't bid on HVAC work per se like this. They'll do bigger like boiler jobs, which is why they bid on that. But doing like a rooftop AC unit, I don't know them to be that type of company.
But they are a HVAC company in the city here.
Yeah, so there was an overstatement then, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. Any more questions for Mr. Tom? Thanks, Eric. Next up is community engagement with Todd McCain.
Good morning and happy Monday to everyone. I want to begin my report with compliance. The project on Lake Street where Grimmer Construction is working, we have out of 8 workers, 3 Gary residents, which gets us at 38% of Gary workers on that job. The project on West 37th Avenue, AMETS, out of the 4 workers, 1 out of 4 are Gary workers. And then last but not least, the project that Mr. Metz has at 800 Montgomery Street, out of the 4 workers, 1 out of 4 are Gary residents. You all should have been in receipt of an email that I did send Mr. Metz, reiterating what we talked about in reference to reaching out to the hiring union, requesting Gary workers, if there were none available, to submit to me a letter from that hiring union said, indeed, Metz Sewers did reach out to the union, but we had no Gary workers. I reached out to him again. I finally got a response today, and I will forward that in an email today to the commissioners, his response again in reference to what we're asking him to do. As it relates to, well, I'll take any questions in reference to compliance now.
Sir, I have a question. You sent us this list a while back on the jobs that Mets were on. If you do the math on the list, 12 out of 21 jobs, that's 60% compliance that he's on here. Now, there's an oversight.
The Lake Street.
Lake Street, Mets isn't working on Lake Street.
Right.
And not only that, you've got Madison, 400 block of Madison on here 3 times, and then you have 1 time you're showing 0% on there.
Okay.
That's the same address, it's February 6, 16, 23. So he's showing 100% for 2 of those, 0% for 1. Then there's a Louisiana Street, which is 1601, you're showing 0, and and this is going back last year. And then you're showing 41st and Colfax, you're showing 0%. So if you took out Lake Street, Metz on this list would actually be up to 65%. He would be doing better than Grimmer is doing out there in the field. In addition to that, I mean, this is the list you gave. Right. This is the list you delivered. So the math isn't really adding up.
Well, I would take a look at that again with Alice. Ms. Lyles is the one who gave me that report, and we'll go through it with a fine tooth comb, and we'll give you the corrected numbers by the next commissioners meeting.
Okay.
Also, as it relates to the student tour, the Hobart High School postponed their tour that was slated for November 8th. There were several students that signed up for the tour, but they had Fs. So according to Hobart school policy, they don't allow students with Fs on their report card to participate in any field trips. But we did host a group of 25 students from Lake Ridge Middle School back in October. And I just want to take a few seconds to read a couple of the responses. We asked the students to write their responses in reference to their experience here at GSD. So this comes from Isaiah B. He's a 7th grader from Lake Ridge. He says, something I learned during the field trip was how they cleaned the water and where they get the water from. They get it from toilets, sinks, showers, and drains. The way they cleaned it was with a filter that takes out the trash out of the water. Another thing I learned was what we should not put in drains, such as oil or grease. I had a lot of fun over there and very much appreciated them for letting us go. Those are the things I learned. Dominic Johnson, he says, I really liked the field trip. They taught us how they cleaned the sewer water. We learned the different steps, like how they use the rack to get the big stuff out. Then it goes to the pond where all the dirt settles and it's pushed down. The water goes to the place where the bacteria eats the bad stuff out of the water. Last, it gets chlorinated and dechlorinated and goes to the Grand Calumet River. Just got 2 more.
Someone paid attention.
Yes, they did. Future engineer, superintendent. On the field trip, most of us saw an amazing and extraordinary things. The Gary Sanitary District is one of the most cleanest and best places I ever been in my whole life. Make it sound like a inclusive resort in Cabo somewhere, but bless his heart. I would definitely go back for an amazing tour and PowerPoints. They talked about a bunch of detailed stuff, including water, sewage pipes, and how dirty water is transformed. When we saw the machines, it seemed pretty jaw-dropping and outstanding. And last, this comes from Marshall Stevens, 7th grader. I learned how people clean dirty water. I learned how you cannot flush grease. You cannot drain it into the sink. What is fascinating was the screw-looking thing, meaning the screw pumps. It was splashing water everywhere. They really had good food. It did smell bad, but it wasn't as bad as the field trip. The food was still the best part. I got to see where all of it goes. All the big things are scooped out, meaning the head rack. And I just want to reiterate, even though these letters are funny, but this is a part of promoting goodwill. You know, Goodwill is more than a resale shop where they sell used clothes and used furniture. We want to promote goodwill with our community, and we're doing it. We have 3 classes slated for December, which we should have about 90 students come through in December, 3 different dates. And by the end of the year, we would have serviced 115 students. So we're almost halfway to our goal of 300 students in the community. And last but not least, I want to emphasize, I participated in the ribbon cutting ceremony at Tiny's Coffee Bar. It's the old Miller Bakery. They have transformed that restaurant. It's not like what it used to be. And I like what Deputy Mayor said at that opening ribbon cutting ceremony. He said, you know, New Orleans has Bourbon Street, and Chicago has Rush Street, and Memphis has Beale Street, and Gary has Lake Street. And I truly believe energy begets energy. I'm not plugging Tiny's Coffee Bar specifically, but I'm plugging all small businesses in the city of Gary. I know industry drives, but it's all about mom and pop stores too. And if you don't believe me, go back 30 years ago on 119th Street in Whiting and see what it was not then and what it is now. And go on Pierogi Fest and see the energy. You go downtown Valpo and see what it was 30 years ago and see what it is now. It's bustling. And check it out on Popcorn Festival weekend. The same thing with downtown Hobart. So we can have that same thing at Lake Street, and I definitely agree with the deputy mayor in reference to businesses and restaurants and entertainment being the hub at Lake Street. Last but not least, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Truly the best way to give thanks is by giving. So pay it forward. I'll entertain any questions now.
What was the grade and school were those letters that you read?
7th and 8th grade, Lake Ridge.
Lake Ridge.
Yeah, Lake Ridge Middle School, Calumet Township.
Whoever paid attention about chlorination and dechlorination in Grand Calumet River, we need to get them a summer internship.
Okay.
They all deserve one, but that one specifically.
And Commissioner, I know being a former school teacher, not one misspelled word. Not one misspelled word. Yeah.
The other thing,
Yes, sir.
I don't.
Are the Gary schools participating?
We have 3 classes from 21st Century coming in the month of December. So that's going to be our 90. And then we have one more class to finish with them. They have 4 classes in January. Then we'll pick up with the other schools. Yeah. Thank you.
I know it's not my role to plug a business, but I'm just going to say Lake Street in general. All of us here on this board contributed to that kind of thing happening. Every time a new business opens on Lake Street, no matter what it is, it was spurred by the efforts of this board. It's been a while since we've had a newsletter or the like about the different types of investments, but one most notably, what we do is to protect water quality in our community. And not a lot of people know that Lake Street, every drop of stormwater that falls on Lake Street or on the buildings near it goes into an underground exfiltration chamber in lieu of going into our combined sewer system, leading to and contributing to combined sewer overflows, which pollute our waterways, right? So that wasn't just a plant some trees and put new curbs and gutters on Lake Street. That was a major, major investment from multiple stakeholders, but this board was one of the major ones. So I applaud this board.
Wasn't a similar thing done in Shelby too?
Shelby and Locust, yeah, and that's been a little slower to spur investment, but there is a new investment being made at the restaurant, the former Beach Cafe. I was able to personally check that out on Friday. It's very nice. Which one? Beach Cafe? It's called Nostalgia now?
Oh, I thought you were talking about that Italian.
No, that's a different building. But yeah, so thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
All right, next up is American Structure Point.
Morning, Commissioners. John Tucker, Structure Point. A couple of sanitary projects we're overseeing. 27 Chase Phase 2, as Mr. Tonk mentioned, they're getting ready for the winterizing that project. I don't have anything new to report based on that report. Lake Street Force Main, all the closeout paperwork has been sent to the contractor, certificate of final completion. We also have a change order. The sidewalk we're not putting in since we're going to have the new improvements on Lake Street, so that'll be a deduction change order. So that is in the contractor's hands and should hopefully have it ready for the next board meeting. Those are the 2 sanitary projects we're overseeing, so if there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer. Okay.
Any questions for John? Okay, thanks, John.
Thank you.
There you go. Next up is CDM Smith. Sorry.
Morning, Board. You got updates from Eric on the aeration grit and 27th and Chase Street bar screen projects. Speaking of the 27th and Chase Bar Screen project, that is being funded through a grant from the IFA and from the SRF. And we have a meeting scheduled in a few weeks with them to talk about that project, but also some additional projects that we applied for funding. We submitted some preliminary engineering reports, and we don't have any word back on a couple of projects at 27th and Chase and at 15th and Clay. So we want to move those along and then talk about future projects, future funding as well. But other than that, I don't have any updates for you. Happy to answer whatever questions you might have.
Any questions for CDM Smith or Matt? All right, thanks, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Next up is discussion. That is discussion amongst the board. Is there anything the board would like to discuss?
No, but I would like to say that we weren't in session and we just had a Veterans Day to pass. And you'd like to thank all the veterans who served. And I will say this, and don't think I'm brown nosing, but Mr. Melton's father served with my uncle in Vietnam. Both of them were wounded. Both of them had Purple Hearts. And so I have a special place in my heart for Vietnam veterans. But I'd just like to wish all the veterans, if there's any here, thanks for your service and happy belated Veterans Day.
I echo those comments. Thank you, Commissioner. Anything anyone else would like to discuss? Okay, next up is request to speak. Were there any requests to speak?
Yes, we have one, Mr. Ron Matlock.
Mr. Matlock, you can approach the podium and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, board.
Morning.
And certainly want to thank Mr. Maybon for the Vietnam vets. I am one too. Okay.
I didn't know you fought anybody.
I didn't. I stayed away from the temperature part.
Oh.
Okay. First of all, I was just here a few weeks ago, and I thought we had resolved this matter in terms of landlords being responsible for someone who's fraudulently put their name in the water company because the water company cut them off. So they have their boyfriend to come and cut it back on, you know. That's getting to be a bit much. As we get close to the moratorium on shut-off, last time around, they said, well, we can't cut nobody off. The water company will not cut anybody off. So we're going through a whole new thing of another $1,000 coming up winter if we don't correct this problem. My only suggestion to that is, if I'm the landlord and a person Joe comes to rent, he goes to the water company first, and they don't ask for, well, are you the owner or are you a tenant? And if you're a tenant, then I need to have some information because Mr. Matlock will know that this is not the correct person in their property. It's getting big. I did talk to, and I guess he got the other attorney filling in for him. I did talk to Attorney Jewel Harris Jr., and he indicated, we're going to get this, we're going to take care of this. It's a big problem. I said, how long has it been a big problem? This thing's been going on forever. I didn't turn the water on. And of course, and then I asked them if they would go out to the house. They say, nobody lived in the house. I said, how did you know nobody lived in the house? They say, we knocked on the door. You say, you think they're going to answer that door? You think they're going to answer? I don't think so. So the house is vacant. The house is not vacant, okay? I have a house right next to it. And they said, oh, the people going in every day. I know that. But I'm just simply saying that I think the solution to that problem, I think, would be, hey, look, when you go to the water company, because they get their money, right? And they just cut them off. And that's what they did. They cut this lady off, Miss Maya Butts, and you have all the information on it. That has changed back and forth on the last, I guess, year. Khadijah Bill Ford, Maya Butts, and now a new person just come in, her boyfriend. His name is, I talked to Miss Anderson this morning and given the name of these people. So it's just a matter of checking with this. Say we having a serious problem here with this sanitary district. you're not following us. I can't get the information from them. They will not tell me who's standing there. I say, what do you mean you can't tell me who's standing there? You got fraud. You all cutting them off. So, but it's going to be fraud. Somebody else going in, and they going to leave too. So, like I say, Mr. Harris said he would get back to me. Oh, we're going to take care of this. You think he got back to me? That's the reason he sent you this morning. Okay, attorney. That's the reason he sent you, because he didn't want to answer. And I think it's a bit of disrespect for a person who served as the attorney for this board to not at least get back to me when he said he's going to figure. I figured he couldn't, and I was just wanting to give a solution. The only thing I'm saying, check with the sanitary district and the water company ought to communicate who's this person, and then share that with me so we could do what we have to do. So I hope we will get this taken care of, because another winter's coming on and a moratorium, and another person's already in there. They sent me a letter, and I have the letter here from the water company. Thanks, Mr. Matlock, because when people leave, I want to have water cut on because I have to go in and do work. So naturally, oh, thank you for joining us, turn the water back on. I haven't turned the water on.
Excuse me, that's time.
I'm sure it is, but again, have Mr. Harris, attorney, to talk to me and come back and stop running, okay? Thank you much.
Okay, were there any other requests to speak?
No, sir.
Then that, next up is adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Gary Stormwater Management District on Monday, November 20th, 2023. Let's go right to roll call, please.
Director Daniel Vicari,
Present.
Director Maurice Mabon,
Present.
Director Ola Morris, Director Charles Jackson,
Present.
Director Darnell Lyles, Attorney Nick Snow,
Present.
Executive Director Rhonda Anderson, Finance Manager Jerome Foster,
Present.
and that's the end of roll call.
With 5 directors present and 0 absent, we can conduct business. First on the agenda is minutes. Madam Secretary, do you have a recommendation for minutes? There's been a motion to approve minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes?
Will there be a hard copy follow-up because the minutes didn't get on the agenda? The minutes were email. Is there going to be a hard copy?
Yes, I have one for you.
Do you want one now?
I can get back to the meeting.
Okay, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles,
Yeah.
Director Jackson,
Yes.
Director Morris, Director Mabon,
Yes.
Director Vicari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Next up is new business. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. I recommend a motion to approve and ratify GSWMD payroll earnings for period ending October 9th, 2023 through October 22nd, 2023 in the amount of $7,503.77.
For the overview of payroll, under item 2.1, is there a motion?
So moved, Chair.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles,
Yeah.
Director Jackson,
Jackson, she said.
Oh, you say Jackson or?
Director Jackson,
Yes.
Yes.
Director Morris, Director Mabon,
Yes.
Director Vicari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
5 ayes and 0 noes. 2.1 has been approved. Can you omnibus with item 2 point, hold on.
You might want to defer.
23. Okay, where's 23? Got it, okay. My apologies. Okay, there's a recommendation for the approval of item 2.2. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles?
Yes.
Director Jackson?
Yes.
Director Morris? Director Maybon?
Yes.
Director Vakari?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 2.2 has been approved. Recommendation for deferral of item 2.3. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles?
Yes.
Director Jackson?
Yes.
Director Morris? Director Maybon?
Yes.
Director Vakari?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 2.3 has been deferred.
Did have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
It's probably for Mr. Foster. When is this budget going to be presented?
I'll say, Cinder, our financial consultants, we're working on that as we speak, and we plan on getting that over to you by the next board meeting.
That would be December the 4th.
Yes, that is the plan.
And will we have,
You say that's the plan.
Anything can happen. We just got finished with COVID, Mr. Maybon. But yes, we're going to have that over to
Well, we
you.
can't have a plan. We have to have it. I mean,
Yes, we're going to have it to
Yeah,
you.
you look in the Gateway, every other municipality has their stormwater budget in. So we will have it on that particular,
Yes, you'll have it.
okay.
I think we may end up having a quorum issue for December 18th. So let's drive a stake in the ground for
Why?
December 4th.
Are you calling the shots already? What you mean a forum?
I said we may have a quorum issue that late, close to the holidays. So let's get it done so that doesn't become an issue.
That's what I was asking you. Did you have a plan or something? For
That's why I'm making a recommendation based on the feedback I'm hearing from the board that we have a budget presented to us on the December 4th meeting.
You will have the budget on the next board meeting.
Thank you.
Will there be a meeting prior to?
Yes, yes, I will be inviting, when we talk with our managers, excuse me, we talk with our managers, all the board members will be on the schedule, so you, able to come in and meet with them and go over it as well.
If that's the case, that would be a board.
Well, that would have been executive session.
We can't discuss that during the executive session. So I recommend you have it ready for pre-board on November 29th. You can disseminate it amongst the board for their review at any time, but we cannot have a quorum meeting without it being a published
Understood?
board meeting. Sorry, I'm acting like our attorney.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you said it right.
All right. I forgot where we were at. Commissioner, you started with a question, I guess.
Now, are there, what are the options? What is all the options for submitting and reviewing the budget before it comes before this committee?
I'm not understanding the question when you say options.
We can't have an executive session, correct? You can't, you don't discuss budgets in
You cannot
executive
have an
session.
executive session, But no,
Okay.
you can, the board can obviously all have the document and review it independently. If you want to have a collective discussion, typically, that's something that would either be delegated to a committee that would report back to the board, or you can schedule a special meeting for a time and location where you're going to basically hear a presentation on the budget and discuss any concerns that you have.
Yeah, well, how would you define that special meeting?
That's a special meeting. It's essentially, it's noticed just like this meeting would be today. It would just be called a special meeting. It would have a single agenda item. It just has to be publicly noticed, and the public has to be permitted to observe and attend the same way that the regular board meetings do.
I didn't hear you, Commissioner. Watch it. Okay. Would you be in favor of a special meeting? Would this board be in favor of a special meeting? In the essence of time, I guess no.
Is this what City Hall does? Special meetings on the boards, on the budget then?
No, I think they presented on the floor.
Floor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, City Hall, I think in terms of the city budget would be a little different because there's budget hearings and there's a lot of things. But yes, those council workshops that they have, those are all public. When the council has a workshop, I mean, I'm not, I guess, as familiar with the way the city works here, but if they have budget workshops, they're typically publicly noticed. So it's almost like, it's just an informal, it's a less formal meeting. There's, like I said, the single agenda item, and it's just to hear a presentation related to the budget and have whatever discussion you're going to have. But the problem is discussing a business matter among the quorum of the board.
Right.
You can't do that in the absence of public notice. So it doesn't mean you have to take a vote on it just because it's a special meeting or whatever. It just, you have to be able to give people the access to hear the discussion. And I think, you know, in terms of the board's preference, I think it's just that. It's the board's prerogative, you know, to decide whether the board wants to schedule something like that. And then it's just up to us to make sure that we get the notices out correctly.
Is that essentially what we're doing on December 4th?
You can do it on December 4th. Yes, it's, I think that, you know, I mean, obviously if it's a bigger discussion, it lengthens your regular meeting, and you're also then discussing it on the same day you would hope to approve it. So if you have any contentions and concerns and the 4th is the date you know you want to get it done, that would be a reason for potentially discussing it sooner. But again, that's I think a kind of a question for the board.
So why don't we have two people as our committee work with Jerome on the budget and report back to the board on the 4th.
Well, that would be some input.
I think, and I may have to, I would have to research that a little bit, but those committee meetings may, because of some, I don't know that it's directly stated in the statute, but because of the public access council or opinions, I think those committee meetings might have to be publicly noticed too, which you could also do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's only if they're a quorum contingent of the board.
I think there may be some, I'm thinking I may have seen some public access council language to the contrary. I would want to check that. I would want to check that
And to
before you do.
review because it's a budget process and it should be public.
Yeah.
But we won't have a quorum because we only send 2 board members
So
on the committee.
in that instance, the notice would still have to go out. The public would still have to be able to attend, but obviously you can't take a final action because you don't have a quorum.
So who?
Problem with it?
Mr. Jackson, you want to be on the committee?
I don't think I can.
No. Ms. Morris, would you like to be on the committee? You said no?
I don't have any problem.
He has no problems with it.
You asked me, did I have a problem?
I said, would you mind being on the committee working with the budget?
Oh, I don't mind, no.
Okay. So we got Ms. Morris and Mr. Benchbuck. So then you guys coordinate with Jerome.
So they do?
You're looking for a nice, clean budget on the 4th.
Oh, you'll get one.
Is this so we're talking about this in the stormwater meeting. Is this a stormwater thing or GSD and stormwater?
Both.
Both.
Both, okay.
Yeah. And so I think you gotta follow council's advice when you set your meetings or
Coordinate it.
meeting. If you think you're gonna have to do more than one, I would come up with all the dates and put that in the public notice, date and the time.
Have them here and then Ms. Lee could send out notice like she does to anything else.
Well, you set a date.
You can absolutely make a motion to appoint a committee.
Okay, so I make a motion to appoint a annual budget committee consisting of Commissioner Mabon, Director Mabon and Director Morris. We can use this for GSD, but
You might want to use both, Dan, because it's going to be for the GSD budget and
leave it at that. GSD and GSWMD. That's my motion.
If I'm available, can I just,
No,
can't say?
I thought you were.
you want to be on the
You
committee,
can-
we can do it, because it's going to be a public
I
meeting.
can't say if I could.
You can attend as a member of the public.
You
Yeah.
can't.
I mean,
Public.
or you can attend the meeting.
Just sit in the audience.
Yeah, that's always that's an odd dynamic,
Yeah,
but yes,
or
you
not.
can.
That,
If you want to be on the committee, just put you on the
I
committee.
don't
If you don't
know
show
if
up,
I-
you don't show up.
Look, can I express myself? I don't know if I can make it or not.
You don't show up, you don't show up. We'll just cover it today. We'll put you on the committee.
Yeah.
It's covered. So that way it's done. If you can show up, great. If not,
Okay,
no big
that's
deal.
good.
I'm sorry. That's all I was trying to do is help you out. But that's my motion is Commissioner Mabon, Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Morris. To be on
And I
the
asked
budget.
because you say you only need 8.
we can go up to 3.
You can add up, but that was.
It's 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. It's
It could be all of us. It's a publicized meeting. It doesn't
a public
matter.
meeting, so it's, yeah.
You can show up.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Jackson,
Yes.
Director Morris,
Yes.
Director Mabon,
Yes.
Director Vakari. The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
5 ayes and 0 noes. The motion to establish a committee to review the budget and make a recommendation to the entirety of the board is hereby approved. I think we were on 2.3. We deferred 2.3. We're on 2.4. The motion to, or there's been a recommendation to defer. Is there a motion to do so?
I just had a question on 2.4, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but during the pre-board, didn't we say that 2.4 was was that tied into a grant that supplies us with 90% of the funding?
It can wait till the next board cycle, in my opinion, and based on recommendations from legal and our consultant.
Okay.
Is there a motion to defer?
Waiting for a motion.
Yeah. So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles,
Yes.
Director Jackson,
Yes.
Director Morris, Director Mabon,
Yes.
Director Vakari.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
$59,600. I would like for the record engineering, COLA, Wasaka to be
For the overview, oh, and then Paula has some additional information? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, directors, I'm here with
Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury is the GIS administrator for GSD and GWMD. Shrewsbury manages and updates our GIS and the digitization of all our assets. What we're trying to do is move away from paper maps and digitize all our assets into the GIS. We are currently using Shrewsbury to do this work for us until we have the resources to do it in-house. So right now we are building our GIS, digitizing everything, and then at the same time we are capturing all missing either drawings or projects. So it's an ongoing process. And then the task order number 5 is essentially dealing with the stormwater updates. We needed it for the stormwater quality management plan that we are far behind in our schedule, our deadline to item. So I discussed this issue with the former director, executive director. That was in September. And then I was of the opinion that the thing was already approved because we have on-call engineering services with Shrewsbury. So I think I would like you to introduce yourself.
So, good morning. My name is Kwabna Edusakwadie with Director of Water Resources at Shrewsbury and Associates. This has been an ongoing project that we've worked on, I think, for the past 2 years or so, and we've put most of the assets into the model. And I think Gary Sanitary District is using some of the work as we move forward. And the ultimate plan is.
Mic on?
Oh, can you hear me? Okay. So the ultimate goal, as Director Kola has said, is to have the ability to go through all your assets and essentially be able to throw away all the paper trail that you have, so that you can go in and make up to real-time updates to your assets as you go through and do new projects or look at old information that you have. With the paper trail, sometimes things get lost. I think you had some problems with some of your previous I think you recently had some computer issues and you lost. Yeah, you got hacked, and so you lost some of your assets. And so we have those in-house, and we want to be able to safeguard against future incidents like that with the continued updating of your model.
So Shrewsbury has done kind of like you said close to how many percentage you've done? 85. So it's done 85% of this engineering service. So I would.
So they're finishing up a contract?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're 85% complete?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any problem with that.
So is this an amendment to the existing agreement or a whole new task order?
I don't really know how. I just discussed with Director Peller, and I'm thinking because we have ongoing on-call engineering services, so my belief is that it's an internal, is it amendment or new task order? Is
this additional money?
Yes, additional money.
Can't approve an additional money, can we?
It's existing.
It's existing,
This
but
is, how many phases is this, Dan?
Good question. How many more phases do you think, Cola, to get us to a point?
we are, I would say, for now, we are almost, I think like 75% done. But there are so many missing projects. As we discover these projects, yeah, he's continuing to do the update. But new projects we don't have yet, so I would say like 75% done. So we might be talking about another phase, or maybe we start using the on-call engineering service.
I asked that question because I already know the answer. I look at this as more of an amendment to existing work. It's not a whole new suite of, like a new project we gave you, right? You're still doing the same thing. You're taking all of our old paper maps and you're digitizing them, putting them, not digitizing, you're creating GIS databases with them, right? So
that was what I discussed with Director Pella.
Existing contract.
Yeah.
You still gotta get approval.
I have a question.
That's why they're before us.
Yeah.
When I looked at the document code, at the top, it says task order number 5, but in the language, it says this is task order number 3, dated November 20th, 2020. So should it be task order number 3 at the top, or no?
I
Are you looking at the
do not have the document with me, so did I?
No.
Phases, it says task order number 5 at the top. Then in the first paragraph, it says this is task order number 3. So what is task order number 5? That's something different.
What about this?
Let me check my folder.
Kwame, do you know what task order you're on?
Yeah, we are on number 5. So I think what happens, there might be a typo in that document that you have.
You want a copy of it?
Okay.
So on that first sentence, Kwame, it should be task order number 3 dated November 20, right?
He says he's on 5. Right?
He's on 5.
So it should say task order number 5 dated November, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been approved up through 4. You're looking for 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Should be, it's a typo.
I think my recommendation is to keep the numbers, because that's what they've been doing. But essentially, this is an amendment to an existing project that they've been doing in phases. I mean, you're literally taking thousands of pieces of paper and creating GIS layers, right?
Yes.
And rather than having gone into this project knowing, hey, it's going to take 5 years and I don't know how many dollars that would have taken, right? We took it off in smaller chunks. We prioritized the most important things at first, if I recall.
Yes.
Then we moved to lesser and lesser important, but yet all important
Yes.
things to do.
Yes.
All right. I think we've been doing this for about a decade. Whether it was the televising data.
Yeah, and it's called, I'm going to put at the back. The Trimble unit, just for the GPS.
Yeah.
And then we're getting there, we're almost done.
So how long till we're at that point where Lamingo can go out in the field on his laptop that he's looking at now and say, you know what, I just checked the condition of this manhole, or I just, quickly did a depth check, or I saw some problems, and he can enter it into the enterprise GIS and it becomes an immediate upload.
So right now, I believe you all purchased the tablets that are available, and I think we've gotten most of your staff signed up onto the system. So we need to finish up these assets, and then we will do a training for all your staff, and then we'll kind of pilot test this, in the field.
So for this last 59, thank you. For this last 59,600, give me some examples of the type of maps that we're looking to get into GIS.
So you have all the sanitary right now. You have all the storm. You have your catch basins and your manholes, so all up to date, and you also have your laterals and all your taps. So those are going to be finished up in the model. There were some alignment issues in the previous phase that we did. We're going to fix those, and then we'll do the SOP for your staff, and then we'll have them basically go out and try and test this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This all started with the service lateral effort, correct?
Yes.
With a major effort.
Yeah.
Talking over, I think, 120 years of
Yes.
sewer tap permits that we'd have to go through and enter that information. Because, you know, again, Lamingo, he's sitting back there, don't be disruptive. Hey, sorry, so he needs to have that information. When customers come back and homeowner doesn't know where their sewer lateral is, right? And now while we're not responsible for it, it'd be great if we have that information so they know within the public right of way, it's right here, it's this material, it's this size, it's this old, right?
Exactly.
I think a lot of times we can tell people if it's 100 years old, it's time to replace it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after if this is approved, then we'll start the training phase afterwards?
Yeah. Well, the goal is by the end of this task, we will start the training. So the training will begin as part of this task number 5. There'll be the other assets that Cole is going to give us to add, but we can do the actual training as part of this phase.
And so in the future, we'll just be doing updates?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we heard the overview. Is there a motion to approve the continuance of this work?
So moved.
Oh, second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles?
Yes.
Director Jackson?
Yes.
Director Morris?
Yeah.
Director Maybon?
Yes.
Director Vakari?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 2.5 has been approved.
Mr. President, can you kind of recap this and say exactly what we're doing here? We're completing, I mean, this is something that started in what year did we start this? 2021, I think it was.
Yeah, it was even prior to that. That's the task orders they've had under this
Okay.
master services agreement.
Okay.
I believe,
2021. It says it in
Yeah.
the thing,
Okay, 2021.
February 17th.
it actually goes further back to, we had VS Engineering doing some things with it too, if I recall. They're taking the sewer televising information, and putting it in GIS too.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Next up is claims.
Thank you. I recommend the approval and ratification of GSW MD claim numbers 198 through 203 in the amount of $6,032.60.
For the overview of claims, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
No second.
Is there a second? I'm sorry, there is a second. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Director Lyles?
Yes.
Director Jackson?
Yes.
Director Morris?
Yeah.
Director Maybon?
Yes.
Director Vakari?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, item 3.1 has been approved. Next up is information updates. The first update we have is from MS4 Coordinator Brenda Scott Henry.
I don't have a watch on, but is it morning or afternoon? Good afternoon, everyone. So, as a part of my update, I want to really thank the board for approval of that task order because we haven't completed mapping our ditches or all of our conveyance systems. So we really need some technical support in terms of doing that work. It makes it easier for us to go out and monitor and report out on our stormwater quality management plan. If we had, completed that earlier, we'll have that report to add to our, to submit to IDEM, but we don't, so we're going to move forward with what we have. And speaking of which, we had at our last MS4 meeting, we did meet with Metrics Environmental, who is our consultant for doing the stormwater quality management plan, which is past due, only because we had some challenges with data breaches. Our team being able to find information that they needed. We pulled as much as the information as we could without it, but then now we're getting there. So with, our goal is to make sure that we can finalize a draft by November 30th. We'll submit that draft to the board for review and approval, and then we can submit that on to IDEM. Okay. In your board package that I submitted in the director's report, as you know, we hosted the NISWAG meeting. That's the Northwest Indiana Stormwater Advisory Group. So we have various partners there who participated in the meeting, and we have identified our schedule for contractors for 2024. And this year we plan to do in 2024, we will have 2 contractors workshops. And I've asked that we have one of those workshops to be held for Gary contractors. And so we're going to coordinate with that because our contractors seems to be ones who are, a little bit lacking. They're not attending these workshops that are for Porter, LaPorte, and Lake County. So you have some of the contractors who are, but not as many Gary contractors are attending these workshops. As a result, they're behind on what the policies and requirements are. And even though I spend a lot of time one-on-ones with these contractors, they still seem to think that it may be an unnecessary step, but it's not. We stay on the shores of Lake Michigan, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we protect those water bodies. We also held you'll find in the package as well, that we held our climate resilience strategic workshop on November 9th at Indiana University. And I think the work that we've been doing with climate planning and climate resilience will really position the city of Gary to get some of those recommendations that we have funded. So I have a meeting coming up soon with IDEM, who's excited about the work that we're doing in the city, and they have some implementation dollars, and we will use those dollars to do some work in the city. So I'm excited about that meeting as well. And I want to just commend our collections department. Even though we have some of the challenges with street sweeping and catch base cleaning, they are still contributing in some factor. They're doing that work out in the field. Maybe it's not as much as we've done in previous years, but our collections department is out there doing street sweeping and catch base cleaning. So I hope that new piece of equipment that we got, where are they? The Vector will pay off in doing some more of the catch base cleaning. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to come in.
So there's some challenges with street sweeping. What are those challenges?
Well, I just can only go by the report. I just know in the previous years, we do have drivers, staffing, being able to do the street sweeping for us. That was one of the major challenges that we had. And then equipment itself.
I just want to be clear with the public. What is the challenge? It's a human resources issue?
Yeah.
Okay, we're short on people, right?
So lack of staff with the certifications to do the street sweeping for us. That's what I meant by that.
But then we have no equipment problem, right?
So I was really wanting to open up because we've made serious investment here at this board level on the equipment. On the HR side, those are things that largely are outside of our control a lot. We've increased the pay, right? So we knew that was a challenge. We talked about some things with CDL. I don't know, Lamingo, do we require CDLs for the street sweepers? Yeah.
Yep.
So How are we doing on staffing? I may be jumping ahead, but how are we?
How many more do you need?
4.
You need 4? Okay.
So is that a goal to get those ramped up so by street sweeping season beginning next year? Because we're closing it out if you haven't already done so. I know those need to be winterized. So
You can't hire anymore now. No way. Can we? If we needed them?
We're not doing street sweeping now anyway.
We're doing a little, we're doing a
We're still
little.
doing some?
Yeah. It's in the report. We do have some street sweeping that is occurring. My point is that in previous years, we were able to do more throughout the year. But we had challenges this year in terms of getting those things done because we didn't have the staffing with the qualifications to do the street sweeping.
It's, if we set a schedule, for example, if we sweep the streets quarterly, can we look to subcontract that out?
Subcontracting is an option.
It's expensive? Okay.
Ms. Henry,
yes.
did you go to this exhibit at the Science Center?
I didn't. One of the members of our team went, Maurice Joyner.
I've gone to it. It's fascinating and frightening at the same time.
Yeah.
I would suggest everybody go to see this exhibit at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Yes.
It'll change your world. Make you stop using plastic.
Stop using plastic, for sure. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have lots of plastic, but we do recycle, so there are recycling bins all over.
I agree with you 100%, but here I am being a hypocrite, right? So when I was a director, I had those put in everywhere for that very point. You know, we should be all coming in with our own reusable container and filling it with that.
I agree.
In water, and we had this before. No one on this board, but someone came to me and said, you know, I don't think that water's safe. This is a wastewater plant. And I said, no.
Listen, man.
No.
You know what? On that point in California, they're phasing out these. Everything you get to drink is in aluminum or some other thing other than plastic. Yeah. Plastic at all. On anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Brenda.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for Brenda? I'm sorry.
Oh,
All right.
I forgot to talk about your report, but that's okay. It's in the packet.
I saw you.
You had a report, was good?
Look at this. Miss Moore is looking all attentive.
I will say I attended the NASDAQ meeting and it was awesome. I mean, very educational. I'm not an outside person. I don't like birdies, bees, and food and all of that. But then you get going to those, you respect everyone has its place and you respect the birds and bees and the room and all that. It was very educational and I think they're doing an awesome job trying to get our resilience under control here in the city here. That's all.
Okay. Next up is American Structure Point.
Good afternoon, directors. John Tucker, Structure Point. Our Lake Street improvement project, as Eric stated at first meeting, we do have the first lift of base out, has been placed. Curb and gutter is ongoing. The schedule so far is curb and gutter and all the gap work should be done by the end of this week, more so Wednesday. The next 2 lifts of paving is scheduled for early next week. That'll get us up to the final 1.5 inches between Third and Cypress. We'll still have to tie in our residents to get them into their drives. Concrete work can still proceed with winterization work. And then we still have some temp pavement that we'll have to do from Cypress to Hemlock. in with next week just to tie in that section that wasn't, that we weren't able to do this year with utility delays. But things were slow moving, but we're finally moving. Yes, sir.
So do we have a date where you can come from Third and go all the way up the street to basically the Naval Center?
We don't have a date for that. If they pave potentially the end of the week after, so the end of next week, the end of November. But they'll still be doing some side work, so we'll still have the construction signs. They'll still have some concrete work to be able to get all the drives done into the residents. So there'll be just some of the ancillary work that'll still have to happen for it to be completely open. But right now, you could drive the full stretch. You just gotta weave around some drainage structures. But it will be, I would say, there's a tentative date, the end of the month still. But then we'll still get the schedule of the contractor as to what they're going to keep going as long as weather permits to do the work that we still have outside of the curb line. It was concentrated on the road, but we still have work outside of the curb line that can be done.
It's about, have the asphalt companies given a date when they're going to shut down for the winter? No.
So far, they're saying they're plenty of work through the first week of December. So Grimmer is using GenStar, and they've been committed to produce asphalt for this project still. So we're still busy out there. So everyone's still laying asphalt, which is good for us to keep going.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for John or American Construction Point? Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Thank you.
Next up is Robinson Engineering.
Good afternoon, directors, and thank you very much for saying Happy Veterans Day. I'm a veteran. I did serve 8 years in the Army, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just a couple of updates for you this afternoon. Bridge number 243 on Lake Street. All the utility relocates have been completed. Also, the sewer installation. There's just some pavement patching and some winterization to do. And then they'll be closing up shop until spring of 2024. The Sixth Place project, we have updated the plans per the latest rounds of comments we received from the engineering department. Those will be emailed out to the engineering department and the executive director today. The citywide of Gary paving project, that's almost completed. Have some coordination to do with Gary Stormwater Management District on Ellsworth Street for a section of pipe that needs to be replaced. We have some minor drainage structure adjustments to complete and some pavement striping to finish up. Other than that, that should be completed way before the end of the year. That concludes my report this afternoon, and I will entertain any questions that the directors may have.
Any questions for Mr. Smith or Robinson Engineering?
Thank you very much, and everyone have a wonderful day of giving thanks this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is discussion. That's discussion amongst the board. Anything the board of directors would like to discuss?
Well, I did have one question. I noticed that NIPSCO's shutting down their center in Glen Park, so that you no longer be able to pay your bills there. But have we set a date in which we're going to open up 504?
I think we need to solicit the input of the incoming mayoral administration. That is a public-facing facility, and I think we would want to do things in step with what his public-facing administration would like to do. We've had it closed since, I'm thinking April. Was that it? April of 2020? At the beginning of COVID. It's no secret, our revenue actually went up when we closed the center, which was a very interesting dynamic. In fact, at the beginning of COVID, we even sought to get temporary lines of credit with our bank because we were concerned that our revenue would drop when there was a governor ordered mandate that we had to suspend water shutoffs for non-payment. So I think we need to talk about that carefully, Commissioner Mabon, and not even just with the new mayoral administration. And that's a big change, right? And I think it's worth more of a discussion, just like the budget questions you asked. I think this is really something we need to discuss further on just when we do it, but if we're going to do it and how we're going to do it if we do it. And the other thing too is the lease is coming up soon on that facility. We need to make a decision if we're going to stay at that
I think it's a financial decision, particularly in light of the fact that our revenues went up when it closed. I mean, we need to really look at that financially and see if that makes financial sense to reopen.
Well, I think our customers have to have a place to go to negotiate bills, payment plans, shut off.
They couldn't come here?
We're
already paying for this place.
We're paying there too. And so
That's what I'm saying. Analyze it financially. If I tend to like if we're spending the taxpayers' money, we're spending it wisely and not for expedience or convenience. If there's another way to do something cheaper, I would lean toward that way.
Well, we're still
Not at the inconvenience of our citizens.
I'm sorry?
Not at the inconvenience of our
Yeah,
citizens.
but what your data is telling you is that you don't need the center. That's what the data is telling us. So we're either gonna go with sentiment or we're gonna go with data. That's my only point.
Well, at the same time, we still have a staff of people there. We still got 7 people there. We're still paying monthly rent of about $1,900 a month. And like Dan said, we're going to be coming out of there. And I wish that we could have some sort of a collaboration. I see where the housing authority's moving into 17th and Broadway. Maybe you ought to reach out to them if they have some additional space. I'd rather we pay them than to pay a landlord out of Chicago anyway. But we're spending money anyway. Like Dan said, the numbers have gone up, but our cost is still the same.
Then reduce it.
It actually went down because we reduced the number of staff by attrition for the most part, didn't we?
But I think in light of NIPSCO and the water company, I just feel that we need to try to keep that office open. It gives customers like Matlock, if there's someplace they want to vent, they can go there to discuss paying their bills. We can train somebody, or all our customer service reps are supposed to be trained in handling payment plans, those types of things. I just think the only concern I have is that the lease might be expiring, and we need to start, like Dan said, deciding whether or not we're going to stay there or we're going to move out. And that's going to be up to the new administration. But
Rhonda, not now, but can you report back to the board with the lease? Maybe just send us all a copy of the lease with your view on things as well.
Approximately how much money have we invested in that particular place?
Don't have that offhand.
a lot in there. A lot in there. I mean, we're having some challenges in the summertime with, what is it, chillers? We're having problems with the air in the summertime, and in the wintertime.
I think those have been resolved. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah, early on we did.
And do we have shared restrooms down there? Is that?
They have like a public restroom.
Those are our private bathrooms for the working hours.
But they move. After that, with the employee center.
But in light of the NIPSCO closing, we would be the only standalone utility that provide interface services. You know, and I think we should do all we can to keep it open.
All right. I was on listening to NPR while I was driving my kids to school this morning, and I heard again, and it finally sank in this time. They were talking about Greater Chicago Water Reclamation District that treats 2 billion gallons a day of wastewater. They are reporting to the public to be mindful of COVID because they're testing the wastewater for COVID indicators. And we've been doing that as well since April of 2020. And I know, Bob, you know, your attendance today was timely. I want to ask if you can, I'm trying to find it, if you can reach out to BioBot, who is our lab we use for the analytics and reporting. How can we make that data forward-facing on our website? Yeah. So Rhonda, what I'd like to see is on our website, like, would you like to know the latest COVID numbers? Click here, and then people have a process to register to do that. Because I'm looking at it now, it's an upward trend, right?
You're looking at how?
This is our data right now since end of August. So from September 1st through, that's an upward trend, right? I mean, we're nowhere near what it was like at the beginning, but this is not, voodoo science anymore. This is pretty mainstream. So let's let people have it.
So, Mr. Ficari, or what you're looking at, is that alarming? Are you telling people to be alarmed, or?
Well, that was the problem at first, is that the people in good governance thought it would be alarming if we didn't have proof. Like, you can't just throw something out there, but now this is pretty sound science. They know they can tell you at least a week ahead of time what the numbers are going to be clinically by testing the wastewater. So we used to do it throughout the city at all of our pump stations, especially not all the contract community pump stations. And now we just do it at the head of the plant, but we've got years of data, and then they can compare this to the clinical data too. And these numbers are always, orders of magnitude higher because people don't always get tested positive, right? Or don't even know they have it. So this information is much more true to what's happening in the community.
Well, the question is, from what you're looking at, should we be alarmed and go back to masks?
No,
really, my
I'm not suggesting that.
Oh.
I just think that there should not be just a few that have this information. This should be publicly seen. And there's precedent for it because, again, the Greater Water Reclamation District of Chicago, one of the biggest wastewater agencies in the world, decides this is good information to send out. And we've been doing it too, right?
Yeah. The commissioners used to get those reports.
Yeah, the health commissioner was getting them.
Yeah. I don't know how I got them. I remember I was getting them. Where they came from you? Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? Were there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Is there a consensus on adjournment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.